G'day there, guys. Road work ahead? I sure hope it does. It's Markee here, and welcome back to another episode of r/AmiTheA. Now, if you love today's content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and enjoy today's content. I just said that, but it doesn't matter. Thank you. Posted by user ThrowRA67129K90Ma, titled, Am I the a-hole for asking my husband to turn down his dream job for my career? I'm going to be vague for privacy reasons. Sorry. I, 33 female, am the breadwinner of our households. I have multiple highly specialized degrees for a niche industry. I make 200k plus, with potential to get in the 600 to millions range. My company has not been hit that badly by the pandemic, so most of us have kept our jobs, but we're held to strict standards. My husband, 36 male, has a broad degree and work experience. He quit his job right before the pandemic hit, hoping for a better job in the meantime, and I was supportive. He spent a ton of time applying to various jobs, and finally landed an interview at Organization X. This is his dream job in almost every imaginable way. I can't be detailed. However, it's paying about 65k a year, which would be fine, except this job directly puts my job stability at risk. My company and this org are adversarial at best. My field is extremely secretive, and if clients discovered my spouse was working for a competitor, I would be permanently tainted. I wouldn't be able to get a job in the industry forever. I know this sounds like an exaggeration, but I promise you, it is absolutely not. It'd be like if I worked in protecting the privacy of celebrities, and he worked for TMZ. If he tapped my car, got into my work devices, he could use that to advance his career, and any trust I have in this field will be gone. Even if I trusted my husband not to do that, my clients and company don't. Worse, because my background is so specialized, this is the only field I can work in. I asked him to drop from consideration for this job, since if he got it, we'd lose my income. 65k a year cannot support us in this city. Plus, he does not have to work for this organization. Even if the job market is awful right now, his background gives him access to a wide range of jobs, but I only have this one niche field. He was extremely angry and said I was selfish and only cared about money. I told him that if he wanted to go back to school for an advanced degree or just be unemployed for a while, I would support him, but taking this job isn't possible. He continued the process behind my back and got the offer. He wants to accept it because he says his career needs to take priority and that I wasn't being a supportive wife. I feel so betrayed, and I've contacted all relevant higher-ups in my company to inform them. I notified them as soon as he got the interview, because it's better coming from my email than from a background check. I told him he could decline the offer, with me watching him physically decline it, or he could accept the offer and move out immediately. I would pay for him to stay 2 weeks at a hotel, and we would begin divorce proceedings. My company is willing to take care of all my legal fees. I feel fudging awful. I still love him. I moved decisively because this was the best way to cut my losses, but it still hurts. He called me heartless and cold. It's true that I was prioritizing my career over his, but it felt like the only option at the time. This situation, like OP's niche market, is extremely niche. I don't think too many people find themselves in situations like this. And how is it fair that OP just completely destroy her career, any prospects in the future of her career, any finances, her financial stability, all gone, years of training, just wipe it all out, because he wants to take one job that can benefit him? I'm sure there are many opportunities for this dream job at different places. You don't need to do this one if it's going to completely ruin your wife. This husband is not worth keeping, unfortunately, if he's going to sabotage you intentionally like this, and then gaslight you saying that you're the problem, you're the one tearing us apart, I have to put this gun to your head, this is your fault, you're the one tearing us apart. Absolutely bang-on job by OP for putting every safeguard in place beforehand and taking initiative on this. So again, good job to OP, can't blame him for the actions, go right ahead with what you're doing, divorce will have to happen if it does. I would choose my career over a partner if it meant that I can never work in that field again, because that's my job, not the a-hole OP. Not the a-hole. Some are saying you've decided your job is more important than your husband's. They are ignoring the fact that he seems to have decided the job offer is more important than your entire career. I was ready to call you the a-hole considering we frequently see people unnecessarily prioritize their career over their spouses when compromise is possible. However, he's refusing compromise. To address the people calling this a trust issue, it doesn't matter if she trusts him. Her company and her clients don't. He knows this and chose to pursue this job anyway. If she doesn't trust someone who's willing to destroy her entire career for a single job, I don't blame her. Men aren't usually the spouse making career sacrificing for the greater good of the couple. I don't know for sure, but that could be something he's struggling with. They're ignoring that he seems to have decided a job offer is more important than your entire career. It's actually worse. He has decided that, as the husband, he has a right to order his wife to give up her career. He says his career needs to take priority and that I wasn't being a supportive wife. And it isn't just OP's career and their family income that isn't as important as his job offer. He has decided that the job offer is even more important than their marriage. Because really, who thinks that you're keeping your marriage after telling your significant other to give up their career because of your much lower paying job offer? About the trust issue, and he knows this and chose to pursue the job anyway, I agree, and it goes farther than that. He has shown that she can't trust him. He continued the process behind my back. To be honest, even if he does capitulate, their relationship will never be the same again. She now knows that she isn't the highest priority in his life, and he'll forever resent her for not backing down on the issue. Not the a-hole, and I think divorce is inevitable. Not the a-hole. And I wonder if Organization X will still want your husband once he becomes your ex. Ooh, that's a very good point. They have to know who he's married to. If he's not a work pipeline into her job, maybe they won't want his stanky ass anymore. Posted by user Ranch Crowns. Titled, Am I the a-hole for disallowing my son from being alone with his girlfriend? My son is 16, his girlfriend is 2. They've been dating for about a year. When they started dating, it was normal and appropriate. Then, over the last several months, I've noticed strange behavior, especially around her. He's usually really talkative and emotive and energetic, but he's kind of withdrawn whenever she's around. She'd answer questions for him and finish his sentences too. I didn't think much of it at first, but then I realized he wasn't spending time with his core group of friends anymore. Turns out, it was because his girlfriend said he wasn't allowed to see them without her. He wasn't going out and doing things he used to enjoy. I asked him about it, and he said his girlfriend didn't think that they were cool things to be doing. She sold his skateboard, she threw out all of his drawings. We had a talk about not changing yourself to please others, and I thought she was a tramp, but it was all normal teenage coming-of-age stuff. Recently, I was on the road for work, and he had a date with this girl, so I texted to ask how it went. He didn't reply. I followed up to be sure he made it home. He called and said that he couldn't reply over text because she reads all his messages and asked me to not ever text him about her. I told him that was a red flag, but he said that when things go good with her, they're really good, so he's fine to put up with her when things are bad. I'm a single mum, so I thought maybe I was being too overprotective of the whole situation, and I just needed to stop interfering. But on that same trip, I called again to ask how a visit to his aunt had gone, and he said he didn't go because his girlfriend feels like he spends too much time with his family lately. I advised him that that wasn't her decision to make, and if he felt like he spent too much time with family, that was one thing. But he needed to learn to tell her no, and if she couldn't handle it, she didn't deserve him. He said he couldn't do that because he was afraid of what she would say, and she's unpredictable when she gets in a state. I was still at a crossroads because I know he's at an age where he needs to problem solve for himself, but a male coworker couldn't help overhearing us talk, and he said, "Just consider if you had a daughter instead. Would you be letting a boyfriend treat her like that?" I hadn't thought of it like that. So when talking didn't work, I eventually banned them from being alone together and took her off his social media so she can no longer monitor it. A lot of men who I trust to give me single mum parenting advice are saying this was an a-hole move because my son is not in any danger and needs to learn to not let girls push him around just to get his rocks off. But the parenting instinct in me says that this was a double standard placing him at risk. But maybe they are right, and it's actually just my overprotectiveness. In which case, I'm the one who's making things worse. I'm at a loss. Am I the a-hole? I don't get how these men who she trusts to give them single mum parenting advice can say that she's an a-hole if they've heard the entire story and they know what's going on. How do you look at this and then go, you know what? You suck if you're stopping her from allowing to continue to abuse your son. He needs to learn the hard way. He needs to be broken emotionally and mentally. He needs to learn. He needs to grow up. I didn't have this when I was 16, but you know what? I think it's the right thing to do, and you should just continue allowing it. You're the a-hole if you step in and help your son. From my perspective, OP is doing the best thing that they can do without telling them to break up with the girlfriends, allowing him to learn from his mistakes, and if things got worse in this situation, bring in other help to end this relationship amicably and protect the son from her. Not the a-hole. I strongly suggest getting in touch with a domestic violence organization for advice. He's in an abusive relationship, and I don't know if you've done the right thing. I say that because you've now given her ammunition to turn him away from you. You can be made out to be the bad guy by her. This is too big for this forum, and you need to get some advice from people who understand the intricacies of abusive relationships. This is good advice. They should have resources for therapists who work with abusive teenage relationships. The OP can start by calling the National Domestic Violence Hotline 1-800-799-7233 to get referrals in her area. Posted by user BitterBlackberry433, titled, "Am I the a-hole for telling my brother, 25 male, he shouldn't have brought his girlfriend, 24 female, to my wedding?" I swear this sounds fake. My brother has subjected me to a sitcom plot. My third wedding anniversary was this week. My wedding was absolutely beautiful, and I am so happily married to my husband. With regards to guests, I explained to my family that we really only wanted serious partners to attend as plus ones, i.e. spouses and fiancés, to keep numbers manageable and make sure we didn't have random exes in various photos. Liam messaged us shortly before the wedding, asking if we could extend that rule to include his girlfriend, as he would be the only immediate family on his own. We agreed. I had some vague idea of him having a girlfriend, but given how busy we both are, and that we are both bad at keeping in contact, I didn't know or question too much. The wedding was lovely and went off without a hitch. Rose was a very sweet girl, very intelligent and kind, and absolutely gorgeous, and she and Liam seemed like a very cute couple. We spoke very briefly about their relationship, meeting at a university, together for a year and a half, and so on. There were a few cracks made about the wedding giving Rose some ideas, and that was really it. I had no reason to interrogate them, of course. Fast forward to this week, and Liam and Rose are visiting my husband and I for dinner and drinks. We're relaxing on the porch, a little tipsy, and Rose mentions Liam's gift to celebrate 3 years together. Cue my surprise. Rose immediately realizes she screwed up, and Liam is cracking up. I say, "I thought you were together more than a year at my wedding." And Liam replies, "No. Me and Rose matched on Tinder 2 weeks beforehand, and I invited her to your wedding as a first date. Apparently, mostly as a joke." I told him he absolutely should not have done that, and that he really hurt my feelings bringing a total stranger along to an important event for me and for our family. He replied that, with my reasoning, he had done nothing wrong, as Rose turned out to be a long-term partner and not a random ex. My point is, he had no guarantee that would be the case. However, He thinks I'm being unfair, being mad at a situation that ultimately turned out absolutely fine, and I'm not sure if he's right or if I'm justified. There is no chance of me cutting contact with Liam or Rose over this argument, just looking for outside perspectives and judgments. Am I being unfair? I'm going to say that you're the a-hole in this situation. You didn't interrogate further, you didn't do your research, I understand things were busy, but it seems like you put this rule in just so you could have nice photos at your wedding. I mean, you had a great time at your wedding, didn't you? And if him and Rose had broken up, he could have always just lied to you and kept you happy that way. He decides to tell you the truth, hoping that you guys would be amicable and be like, oh, great prank, hilarious. But you started an argument over it, over something that happened 3 years ago that would have potentially ruined your photos of your wedding looking back on it. I understand that you're upset that he did this to you, but it's wedding photos. It's one person, it's not that important. I feel like you put too much emphasis on this. I feel like you can cut him some slack. He sucks a little bit for doing it, but I can't blame him. It's a bit funny to bring a first date to a wedding. It's not often you see that. It's a you're the a-hole, slightly leaning to everyone sucks here, but I think you suck more than he does. Everyone sucks here. Your brother did a crappy thing 3 years ago that worked out okay. He was wrong then, but he's right now. I feel sorry for Rose. Can you imagine going to a family wedding for your first date? Edit, and being told to lie about your relationship. Sounds like she had a ball though. It does. Sounds like OP has an awesome sister-in-law. Definitely sounds like they're a good match. When my husband and I started dating officially, we knew each other a year as co-worker friends beforehand. Things progressed quickly. He let me stay over often, and about a few weeks in, he gave me a key to his house so I could go to work or my home, my parents' house, as needed. It was really sweet, but we kept it secret as his dad was a bit skeptical of me, being 10 years younger and all. But I'm sure if there was a wedding during this time in his family, my now husband probably would have invited me too. In fact, only a few weeks we'd been dating officially, and I invited him to my college graduation to meet my parents for the first time, lol. Sometimes things just work out. I want to say no a-holes here, but OP is blowing the past out of proportion. She has a right to be a bit frustrated in hindsight, but what will it change now unless she decides to fight with her bro and ruin their friendship over it? Her complaint will only hurt Rose and ruin the friendship OP has cultivated with her bro, Liam, and Rose. OP even said they weren't as close as siblings before. I think the bro should have been allowed to bring a date if everyone else in the main family did. After all, they could have always asked Rose to step out of frame for family photos. I've been there, it's no big deal. Not to mention, OP didn't grill him about how serious they were beforehand anyway. He probably would have felt more weird not having a date when everyone else usually brings a +1 to a wedding or anniversary event. It sucks being alone around couples, like an awkward third wheel. Oh, and by the way, Photoshop can remove anyone from anything. In fact, I once removed an ex-boyfriend and every tourist from a co-worker's vacation photos, lol. I want to say you're the a-hole, even if it's a bit harsh. Hopefully, OP can let the past go and be glad her bro found someone great for him and they stuck around together. You're the a-hole. You're turning it into a sitcom plot, not them. He didn't want to be the only person without a date. You had no idea how long they'd been dating, you asked no questions. Now 3 years out, you get to be in on the romantic joke. The water is well and truly under the bridge, don't be a dick about it. Posted by user PoorKid091037. Titled, Am I the a-hole for getting into an argument with my ex because he drank beer at our kid's birthday party? My ex is an alcoholic. We have 2 kids together, and one just celebrated her 10th birthday this past weekend. Obviously, we couldn't have a big party like she normally does. So we were just going to have a few cousins over at the ex's house to swim in the pool, eat hot dogs, and play some games. My daughter obviously knows her dad is alcoholic and requested no alcohol at the party. Yes, I know it's sad and pathetic that she has to specifically request that due to her dad's addiction. Anyway, party is going good until X's friend shows up with a 24-pack of beer. As soon as he walks in, my daughter said, "Hey, this is a beer-free party. No, no, no." To which my ex tells her to stop and starts to crack one open. She gets incredibly upset, crying, following him around, telling him no beer. At this point, I step in and I'm like, "Really? Just put it away until we leave in 2 hours. My daughter's begging you not to drink, and this is her birthday." X is like, "I'll be damned if you think it's okay for our kid to tell me what to do in my own house." We get into an argument. Daughter has no interest in having fun anymore and is just stressed about the alcohol. X is fuming because now he has me and our daughter telling him what he can do and can't do in his own house. It's now Thursday, and I texted him and told him he needs to talk to our daughter and apologize for ruining her birthday. He thinks I need to apologize for the screaming match we got into about the alcohol, and if he has any talk with her, it's going to be about how she can't control him and make the rules at his house. Well, now our daughter doesn't want to go over there and is mad at him. I told him I'm supporting her decision until he apologizes to her and promises to hang out with her alcohol-free. He called me a raging tramp. On the one hand, I wouldn't want anyone telling me what to do in my house, especially a kid. But in this situation, it was really screwed up for him not to agree to do it on this one day. Yeah, and I've got to agree with you on that one. Absolutely hardline no alcohol on this one day for 2 hours. If you can't control yourself not drinking alcohol for 2 hours at your kid's birthday party they've specifically asked you not to drink at, you've got major problems. You genuinely have something wrong with your brain if you have to start an argument and yell at your ex and your kid who just want you to not drink for 2 hours. I genuinely don't believe you deserve to see that kid if you're going to take that hardline stance, because it's obvious that he's being abusive and throwing the problem back on them. So OP, not the a-hole. I'd keep her away from him, if you can, by law, until he changes, and if not, tough nuts, that's life, buddy. Not the a-hole. God, this made me so sad for your daughter. I'm glad you're standing up for her the best you can. I don't know what your current custody arrangement is, but it might be a good time to check in with her about if she wants to continue the amount of contact she currently has with her dad. Please also make sure she has access to a therapist to help her cope with all of this. We have a custody arrangement that was set up when we divorced like 6 years ago, but it's not really enforced. He's supposed to have the kids every other weekend, but that never happens because he drinks on the weekends. At most, they'll hang out at his house once a month until he gets drunk, and then they call me or go stay the night with their grandma. I wouldn't use visitation times to get back at him, but even if I did, it wouldn't matter. He doesn't care because he would rather get plastered anyway, so the more time away from them, the better. You need to revisit that custody arrangement. If he's not taking the kids when he's supposed to and creating situations that they feel they need to leave, then his custody should be cut back and his child support increased. It's not about getting back at him, OP. It's dangerous and traumatic for your child. What if he puts her in the car and drove drunk? What if she had an accident while he was drunk and couldn't get help? Also, look at what this is doing to her mental health. She is so upset at her father drinking that she cried and he ruined her birthday. Not the a-hole. Your ex is being inconsiderate and not recognizing he has a problem. What the hell was his friend doing there anyway? Isn't this your daughter's birthday? Anyway, OP, you aren't the a-hole. Exactly the point I also made about his friend showing up. Like, this dude is 40-something with no kids, and we couldn't invite her friends because of the pandemic, but this guy can show up because he's got beer? Give me a fudging break. Okay, and I think that's where we're going to end today's episode, guys. As always, I do hope you enjoyed it, and maybe even learned something from these stories. Just want to say a quick shout out to my Patreon subscribers and my channel members. You guys should be on the screen right now. If you do see yourself, I want you to give yourself a little pat on the back for being amazing and supporting me on this channel, this little journey we're going on the YouTubes. I really appreciate it, and you guys enable me to do all this amazing work. So if you do see yourself, I love your face and I'm happy to see you. Also guys, if you want to pitch in your own support, you don't have to, but channel links are down in the description below to support the Patreon, the channel membership, whatever you want to do. It's kind of like tipping me if you feel like I'm doing a good job on this channel. I will be opening up avenues for content on those in the future. Just right now I'm kind of bogged down and stuck in Ireland, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway guys, with that said, I do hope you have a wonderful day today. Whatever you're up to, I'd love to know down in the comments below. I do hope you have a good day, night, sleep. Whatever you're up to today, tell me, and I'll see you in the next episode, guys. Bye.